Hello, sports card fans. Today, we live in the age of sports documentaries. With no sports being played thanks to the COVID-19 pandemic, we've had to resort to watching many different sports documentaries in order to fulfill our need for sports. And because of these documentaries, such as The Last Dance and the upcoming documentary about Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa's home run chase in 1998, also, we're going to be having a Tiger Woods multi-part series produced by HBO coming out in the fall. So, what's been happening every time one of these documentaries is announced and comes out is we see certain players and their rookie cards absolutely spike in value. So, Tiger Woods, of course, arguably the greatest golfer of all time. Of course, Jack Nicklaus. I don't know if even Tiger will ever beat his beat his all of his records. But Tiger Woods, somebody I actually grew up watching. My grandfather was very much into golf, and Tiger was always my favorite golfer. He was just so good, and Tiger was just, he was a child prodigy, and everybody knows that. He was just everyone knew that this kid was born to play golf, and so he's continued. He's had quite a few ups and downs over the years, and of course he's come back pretty strong recently. Um, but Tiger Woods. When you think of sports cards, you don't really think about golf cards. Golf cards have existed for a while, but so when you think of Tiger Woods, he's showed up in a lot of sets, especially Upper Deck. I think he actually has an exclusive trading card license with Upper Deck, if I remember correctly, because he shows up in a lot of Goodwin Champions sets. So 2001, Upper Deck came out with multiple sets featuring cards of Tiger Woods, but the most iconic of those is the 2001 Upper Deck card number 1. So this card is not exactly the most rare card in the world, but as you can see, the pit, we've actually been selling this card between 200 and 225. And if you take a look at the pop report, there's almost 20,000 of these graded by PSA, and there's there's nearly 8,700 tens and nearly 6,600 nines. So this is not exactly a card that's rare, but because of the fact that Tiger is just so beloved by so many people, because of that, and this card has become very expensive. This is not a rare card by any stretch. You can probably still find this card floating around raw, and you can get it rated. And even a PSA 9, even a PSA 9 holds some value, $55, $60 range. But no doubt as the fall approaches, we're definitely going to be seeing an uptick in these prices. So the other big card, the card that people, so a lot of people consider this to be Tiger Woods' rookie card, but of course, Tiger's career began before that. And so in 1997, there was a set called Champions of Golf Masters Collection, and this set is a lot rarer. And as you can see, the pit has PSA 8, and the PSA 8 alone, we have one that just sold for $145, but this is a card that is now starting to approach the PSA 10 2001 Upper Deck price. And the reason the PSA 8 is worth that much is because if you take a look at the population report for these cards, there's over 8,500 of these graded by PSA, but there's only 2 10s and 121 9s. So there's very, very few of these 9s out there. We actually had a pit trader mention this card in particular recently, and the 9s are still pretty affordable. I think they're in the $1,200 range, I want to say. But look how few there are compared to the 8s, and there's 2,512 8s. So there's not really that many 8s out there. Comparatively speaking, when you think about Tiger Woods, how many people would want to own, Tiger Woods, essentially his rookie card? I think that this is a card that could get eaten up really fast. And of course, the real hardcore, Tiger fans are going to want a 9. You can still find 9s. The pit doesn't have any 9s currently, but as I said, they're so rare that there's only 129 of them. And while that doesn't sound incredibly rare, for somebody like Tiger Woods, it's very rare. People aren't usually huge golf collectors. I don't know if we have any other golf collectors here on the pit, but Tiger is just in a category all his own when it comes to golf. He's just such a great a great player and such a big personality. He's also a pop culture icon too, on top of his playing golf. So so he kind of transcends the game of golf as well, and he's just obviously so good at golf that you know so yeah, so if you're ever looking to, get into something, get into a card that maybe not everybody thinks about. I think eventually more people are going to realize, hey, Tiger Woods has these two cards, and this '97 Masters Collection card is actually pretty rare. This is one of those few cases where getting a PSA 8, is actually a really, it could be a really strong investment because again, this card just it doesn't grade well. I mean, you can see that it's an odd sized card, and so and because it has black borders, it's more susceptible to chipping or corners being chipped or edges and whatnot. So it's a lot harder to get this in a pristine condition. So PSA 8 near mint is probably the best possible grade that most people are going to be able to find. So it's hard to say how many of these are even exist out there raw anymore. So yeah, so if you've been looking for a new card to chase, with so many basketball and football cards, just their price is absolutely skyrocketing. Some of these, 80s and 90s baseball players even going crazy in price. Tiger Woods. I mean, I don't know. I mean, for a PSA 10 to be worth over $200 and have that high of a population, like I don't know that I can see that continuing. But Tiger Woods is just such a special player, and he's arguably the best player in his entire sport right now. Like, and maybe I think when his career's all over, he probably will be the great. I mean, a lot of people already consider him the greatest of all time, and I think he's had quite a story, and so. And people like stories. People in the hobby, they really like stories. They really like players with stories, and so I think the Tiger Woods, he's a guy that, hey, I've now thought about looking into some of his other cards. Tiger Woods actually has quite a few cards out there, but this one and this Masters Collection are probably the two that you'd want to chase, or you can even get a 9 if you just want to own it. So yeah, what do you guys think? You think you'd be interested in investing in Tiger Woods cards? Do you is there another card out there, from another sport that you might consider investing in? Of course, soccer cards have been starting to get really big recently. Um, you know, do you think that is there any other sport that you feel is underrepresented in the hobby? And I mean, the way that things are going with sports documentaries, with how quickly they're coming out with these now, I think it's very possible that we're going to be seeing even more of an explosion. And imagine what's going to happen when they start doing PGA Tour and everything again. So all eyes are going to be on Tiger. So yeah. And I know that there's other players in golf that have a following in the hobby as well. So I'm not an expert on golf, but but yeah, Tiger Woods definitely watch for his cards. Watch for deals on his cards because even though there are 8,000 of those PSA 10s, and almost 7,000 of the 9s, there's enough people out there willing to buy these in quantity. So if you want to get in on his cards, you want to get on them now before they absolutely explode in value. And I'd argue that that this card is still pretty undervalued considering how few of them there are comparatively. So yeah. So have a great day, everybody, and happy collecting.